A while back, I made a video about what would happen if Christian Horner and Adrian Newey would leave. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really think it was ever gonna happen, except now we have news that it's actually very probable that it's happening. Not that Horner is leaving, but Adrian Newey, after almost 20 years at Red Bull, is going to leave. Obviously, there have been already like 30 videos about what's been going on, where he's going, and everything of that sort. I think there are like three options that could stem from this. One, he's leaving for another team. Two, he is going to take a sabbatical. And three, he's just retiring. Those three things all have a knock-on effect for what's going to happen at Red Bull and the entire Formula One grid for the coming future. So let's start off with the first thing, right? If Adrian Newey leaves for another team, which team does he go for? There's a lot of people talking about Ferrari, Mercedes being the main ones. Ferrari coming out a little ahead on that. I think that just like every other technical engineer, technical personnel from a Formula One team, Adrian Newey is going to be on a gardening leave. The gardening leave basically means he's going to be out of functioning of other Formula One team for a certain amount of time. That'll probably be about a year for Adrian Newey. So which team would he go to? I think he could actually be setting up going to Audi. Start a car from the ground up. Once again, for the new regulations, and that is only if he wants to be a part of Formula One still. Because if he doesn't want to be a part of Formula One, we have a whole different can of worms, because then he's just leaving, and to be honest, there is no reason for any drivers to go in any direction. There's no reason for anyone to consider what's going to happen if Adrian Newey goes somewhere else. And the last would be if Adrian Newey just decides that he wants to take a break for a bit. So two of them are kind of similar to each other, one with an option to come back and the other just straight up not coming back, right? And one just going to a different team. Each option has its own set of caveats and things that could happen resulting from that. The first thing would be if Adrian Newey goes to a different team, does Max Verstappen stay at Red Bull? I would think probably, because it's widely rumored that he has an exit clause that if Helmut Marko leaves, he leaves. But I don't see to what extent he will use that if only Adrian Newey leaves. Alternatively, he could leave and follow Adrian Newey to whichever team he goes to, be that Ferrari or be that Audi. You know, it could be anything. To be fair, it wouldn't be Ferrari, mainly because there is a inherent understanding that Charles Leclerc is going to stay at the team for the coming future, and Lewis Hamilton has at least a 2-year deal. So that would mean that Max Verstappen wouldn't really have a seat at Ferrari right away. He would have to wait a few years, and knowing that might just cause some more problems. The other option, that Adrian Newey goes on a sabbatical and just takes a break, and then decides to see if he comes back based on what the 2026 regulations actually hold in store. Because let's face it, Red Bull has been the most vocal critic of the 2026 era regulations. And with Adrian Newey being the absolute juggernaut when it comes to aero-based performances, it kind of plays hand in hand that Adrian Newey is skeptical of what's going to happen with the team with this regulation. So he wants to see how people approach it before he makes a decision on whether he wants to do this or not. And if not, he'll decide to just finish his career right then and there. But if he decides to finish his career before even seeing the 2026 regulations, then we have a big can of worms opening. Because what happens at Red Bull? Does Red Bull's absolute dominance come only from Adrian Newey, or is Pierre Vacher or Jonathan Wheatley or anyone else at that team, are they capable of delivering the same quality of work? Probably. But would the aerodynamics ideas be as refined as they are for Adrian Newey? I don't know. It could mean a lot of things. With that, I feel that Adrian Newey will actually go to Audi. I think the Audi move will be his final move, because regardless of if he decides to move or retire or whatever, if he decides to move, this will be his last move before he retires. The guy is already 65. Let's face it, at 65, you can't afford, well, you can afford, you just can't justify traveling for this up to 10 months a year from place to place, country to country, continent to continent, without feeling repetitive to some extent. So I feel that if Adrian Newey leaves Red Bull, or when Adrian Newey leaves Red Bull, he's going to go to a different team, or he's going to retire. He's not going to go on a sabbatical. That's, for me, the least likely option. But I think all three are very decent options. And based on if he leaves or retires, I think Max Verstappen will decide to stay or leave Red Bull based on that. Because let's face it, the Verstappen camp is struggling with the leadership of Christian Horner. So are we certain that he's gonna stay at Red Bull if Adrian Newey leaves? And would he leave if only Adrian Newey leaves and Helmut Marko and Christian Horner don't get along? I don't know. Because Max has said that he wants the key personnel to stay, so if one leaves, well, who's to say another might not leave as well? Anyway, those are my thoughts about this news. Let me know what you think. Do you think Christian Horner problem has caused Adrian Newey to quit Formula One, or do you think he's just leaving just to see where he wants to go next? Let me know in the comments. Please like and subscribe for more content like this or gaming content, because I need to get back into that, or I want to get back into that. So, and peace out. Get out of here.